The following segment is sponsored by Valley Behavioral Health. On our last day of Mental Health Awareness Week, we are discussing a heavy topic, but an important one. Dr. Todd Thatcher is here to talk about suicide prevention and how we can help those who are struggling. Thank you so much for being here, Doctor.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
We are so glad to have you. Now, we were talking about this before we got started. I think that everybody, unfortunately, has had their life touched by suicide in some way, maybe a friend, a family, or they know somebody. How prevalent is suicide in Utah?
Well, that's a great question. First of all, I've seen some data recently that most people in the state of Utah know somebody who has committed suicide. As far as prevalence rates, it's important people understand they're calculated in numbers per 100,000. So when I say the number, it's not a percentage, it's per 100,000. Wow. So the national rate is about 14 per 100,000. Utah sits right now at about 21 per 100,000. And that has been a steady level for about the last 5 years, which is a point of achievement for the state of Utah and all the efforts we're putting into this. Adolescents run a little bit higher at about 26 per 100,000.
Well, we need to bring those numbers down, and that's
Absolutely.
why we're here today. What are some of the signs that if somebody is maybe considering suicide, how can we watch for that and to make sure that we can help them and get them the help they need?
Right. And as you mentioned before, it can be very difficult. The way that anybody really tells is that person has to communicate to you that I'm thinking about suicide. Now, they can do that verbally by talking to you. They can write things down. Okay, so that's the only way you really know and can get started. Signs that may be leading to, that there may be problems going on is any change in what the person's usual functioning is. So if they're usually a bright, happy person and they just haven't been lately, that would be a warning sign that something's going on. If they usually come very well groomed and dressed to work, or you see them and now they're not, if they're forgetting things, changes like that in people is usually the first sign something's going on. Now, a lot of people are good at hiding those kind of things. Right. Okay, so one of the most important things we can do, like we're doing right here, talk. People have to be able to talk. A couple things that we like to make sure people understand. Talking with someone about suicide, even asking them, are you considering killing yourself? Sometimes they're afraid that they'll put that idea in their head.
Right,
and go,
you've heard that before.
Right, and I wasn't thinking about it, but thank you, I think I'll go try that.
Right.
That's a myth, it doesn't happen. And so people are really wanting, as they do research on people who are thinking about killing themselves, wanting to talk about that is very important, because they don't really want to kill themselves, they want to get away from the pain that they're experiencing, whatever that may be. So having a person to talk to is critical.
And making sure that you have resources available for them, like suicide hotlines and things like that. Also, if somebody is maybe watching right now and is really going through a hard time, what can they do? There are sources they can reach out to?
Oh, absolutely. When I was reflecting on this before the show, that when I started in psychiatry, it was a little bit difficult to find resources. Now, just get on Google and put in suicide.
Amazing.
You'll have more resources that you can reach. You can obviously reach us at valleycares.com. There's some apps you can download. There's plenty of resources. The point is accessing them. Right. And I would say this for people who have people in their lives they want to be able to help. Start a dialogue. Always do that. And the question always comes up, well, when do I get professional help?
Right.
What's that line? And I say, well, let's think about this. If I said this was chest pain, okay, it could be as something as minor as heartburn, and it could be something that will kill you and be fatal.
You would want to go for that immediate help.
Exactly.
And that's why people need to be calling the numbers on the screen and looking you guys up. Thank you so much for bringing up this topic. It is so important, near and dear to my heart. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Thatcher.
Thank you for having me.